This is Japan, the third largest and most advanced economy in the world. It is one of the most disciplined countries where you'll often see people in their 90s walking around. Zero crime rate, top quality education, and an excellent standard of living make Japan an ideal country to live in. But behind all this progress and development, there is a dark reality hidden, a reality that very few people talk about. The truth is, in this video, we are going to uncover this reality and explain how Japan might completely collapse in the near future. Many people might have forgotten, but back in the 1980s, Japan was expected to be the next superpower. It was believed that Japan would soon replace the United States and dominate the global economy, just like China is doing today. There was a lot of concern in America about Japan's rise, so much so that entire movies were made on this subject, such as Die Hard, Rising Sun, and Blade Runner, which depicted Japanese corporations taking over the United States. The reason behind this fear was Japan's impressive economic growth during the previous years. At that time, Japan's economic system was considered far superior and stronger than the Western economic model. Whether it was electronics or medical supplies, people knew that as soon as they graduated from university, they would get a job and then their life would be set. Because in Japan, almost every job was a lifetime job. Japan was literally unstoppable, and by 1990, it had become the second largest economy in the world. But then in 1991, something happened that was going to change Japan's future forever. In fact, before 1990, Japan was experiencing an economic boom that no other country had ever seen. Real estate prices were skyrocketing. The stock market was at its peak. Banks were printing money, and taking out loans was so easy that banks didn't even ask why you needed a loan. But then one day, the entire bubble burst. Between 1990 and 1991, Japan's stock market fell by 43%, and real estate prices dropped by more than 50%. Due to the unlimited supply of loans, many people had literally created zombie companies that had gone bankrupt years ago, but never shut down because they kept getting loans from the banks. Japan's market collapsed so badly that no one wanted to invest in it anymore. Japan had gone from being an economic tiger to the sick man of Asia. But ups and downs are common in economics. So what was different about Japan? In reality, something was going to happen to Japan that would affect an entire generation. To understand this event, we need to understand Japan's job culture. In Japan, your corporate career begins with shikatsu do, a job hunting procedure that every university graduate has to go through. All major companies only hire fresh graduates, and each candidate has to go through multiple interviews and training procedures. Those who clear this process get a lifetime job, according to social policy. Basically, in Japan, once you get a job at a company, you can't leave it for the rest of your life. While it's not a law, the culture has become so strong that no one hires a person who has switched jobs. On the one hand, this offers job security, meaning you don't have to worry about being fired tomorrow. But on the other hand, the job market becomes extremely rigid. You spend your entire life with just one company, and whatever decisions the company makes, you have to follow them. Even in 1990, this was the hiring process, and it has continued to this day. If you don't clear this interview process, it means you will never get a job. It's a door that opens only once. During the economic crisis of 1990, all the big companies froze their hiring, and for the next 13 years, this freeze continued. This period is known as Japan's lost decade. Those who graduated in 1990 did not get a job for the next 13 years, and by the time hiring resumed in 2004, they were 40 years old, and no Japanese company wanted to hire them because they only hire fresh graduates. This was an entire generation and about 20 million people who are now known as Japan's lost generation. Some members of this generation are now working in low-paying jobs, but most still live with and depend on their parents. This means there are millions of people in their 30s and 40s who still live off their parents' money. Some of these people are Hikikomori, meaning they have become so disappointed over time that they have completely cut themselves off from society. They stay at home all day, live off their parents' money, and neither work nor make contact with anyone. If this is where Japan's second problem begins. Japan is one of the few countries in the world where people live very long lives. 30% of Japan's population is over 60 years old, which is why Japan is also called a super-aged country. One major reason for this super-aged population is the lost generation, who, due to their lack of financial stability, never got married. As a result, the younger generation that these 20 million people were supposed to bring into the world never came. Due to their failure to meet society's expectations, many people have committed suicide or fallen into deep depression. The impact of their condition is also felt by society because these millions of people should have been working and contributing to the economy. The money that should have entered the market didn't, and Japan's current government is now very concerned about these people. They are trying to find ways to help them stand on their own feet, but so far, the government has had little success. The reason behind this failure is the rigid job culture, where only fresh graduates are hired, and then employees can't leave their company for life. Every year, many people who fail to find a job after graduation are joining the lost generation. Will the Japanese government be able to fix this, or will this lost generation lead to Japan's downfall? Only time will tell. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Here are the sources we consulted for this video. Don't forget to leave your suggestions in the comments below. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.